Hey everyone, Kevin Hanlon here, and you are watching the finals match of the Untap Open League. And today I am joined by Matt. I don't like watching online Magic Murday.
Hi, everybody. Great to be here.
Glad to have you finally, Matt. It's really good. You're our co-host on the podcast as well, and it was one of the it was actually your idea that we had the podcast in the first place. So it's nice. It's like the family getting back together.
Yeah, I love hanging out with you guys, and I love kind of any opportunity I have to be involved in Frontier content. Happy to be here, and think we're going to have a good match today.
I agree. I definitely agree. So without further ado, let's talk about the finalists lists. So we've got Taylor Holbrook, who's on Esper Vehicles, and it's the closest thing to a true tempo list that I've seen in Frontier. Just really looking to put down the early beatdown in this game. And it's going to be interesting to find out who is the beatdown and who is the control between these two lists. So have you ever played against an Esper Vehicles list, Matt?
I haven't, but I did take a little look at it today, and I was kind of playing around with it myself just casually. I think the biggest things we're looking for out of this deck in this matchup, we're looking for big spell quellers. We're looking for him to land his Gideons through the Thought-Knot Seers, and we're looking for big kind of blowout metallic rebukes.
Oh yeah, the rebukes are going to be crazy if he lands them, for sure, because you can tap clues to turn those on, and it can get pretty brutal. So yeah, I'm looking for that as well. And yeah, the Gideon and Avacyn turns can be huge in this deck.
Another card I think I'm expecting C Squared to have a little bit of trouble with is the Reflector Mage.
Oh yeah,
which just because I happen to know that he's running Ghostfire Blade. So he's going to be kind of investing in his creatures, moving this Ghostfire Blade around, and it's sinking mana into a creature only to have it Armage hurts a lot.
It does, yeah, most definitely, and especially creatures that hurt you every turn for not having another Eldrazi on the field, like this Reaver Drone, which is his primary one-drop that he runs. Reflector Mage is going to be pretty pivotal. Thalia can also be pretty important because, he's not running Reality Smashers, never mind. So Thalia might actually come out in the post-board games, but yeah, Thalia can be pretty big in creature matchups, and especially against a deck that likes to Evolving Wilds for wastes. Is he not doing that in this version either? Man, I'm just... all my words are turning into ashes in my mouth right now, Matt. Yeah, so Clayton's got a few different versions of his mono black Eldrazi deck that he runs, and this is what he would call his Eldrazi aggro list. So it's kind of like a mix between the best of like black control and like some of the greats from Insol aggro. So you've got your Ghostfire Blades and your Hangerback Walkers, and then big Eldrazi finishers.
Yeah, the biggest thing about this deck is it's basically a disruptive aggro deck, right?
Yeah.
So you have your Fatal Push, your Spatial Contortion, your Murderous Cut, and you're looking to disrupt them with your actual just Eldrazi. And I think the big card to watch out for, or there's two big cards to watch out for kind of in that package. And the first one is Bearer of Silence.
Yeah.
So I think Bearer of Silence just is a pretty good card, like it's an edict attached to a body and it has flying.
Yeah.
Hard to be too upset about.
Yeah, definitely. Especially if he can get it down late. Sometimes he's obligated to play it early and then it can't block, so he's just left there with, like 2 damage in the air in the late game, and that can be not that great. So yeah, without further ado, let's just jump right into these games. We'll go ahead and give our players the go-ahead. So you've got view of their hands as well, right?
I do, yeah.
I think this is a mulligan for Taylor on the bottom here.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. It looks like an easy mull. It's a real slow hand.
Yeah, in the meantime, Clayton's... Oh my gosh, he keeps.
Oh, not a mull. What a... Loophole Brook is a brave man, I have to say.
He is. He's said many times about this deck that it's just impossible to win with hands where you can't do anything before turn 2. So... anything until turn 3. So I'm interested to see how he plays this one out, just because, I mean, Clayton's going to be playing 1-drop, 2-drop, 2-drop, 1-drop.
See, on
So,
the other hand, I do think Esper Vehicles is favored in game one.
what makes you say that?
I think our mage is just a huge beating, and I
Oh,
think
yeah.
if he is able to resolve Gideon, it's a really hard card for C squared to be able to fight through, basically.
All right, well,
Uh,
Clayton drew another land off the top, so he could definitely punch through here.
yeah, and that extra Gideon definitely wasn't what Taylor was hoping for off the top. Either,
Definitely not. I think he was probably looking for a smuggler's copter or an early threat.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely not looking good for Taylor in this game right now.
All right, well, Spell Queller is definitely not nothing. And it
Very
looks like
true.
he's going to run out of Thalia here. Which will be good. It'll block either of these creatures handily.
The scary thing is the hangerback's going to put him on a bit of a clock because he's going to be able to just kind of tick it up turn after turn, and pretty soon it's going to be unmanageable.
Yeah, most definitely. Although, it is a pretty prime Reflector Mage target, and that does nullify all of the mana that C squared might pump into that Hangerback Walker. So we've got a third Endless one off the top.
That's a strong point, yeah.
And notably, Clayton doesn't have any colorless mana sources right now, so he can't play his Matter Reshaper on curve.
Also, with Thalia disrupting the Bloodstained Mire, it's definitely a pain.
Yeah, I think that
Struggling
was
a
a
bit here to
solid
decide
play
on his
from
play.
Loop.
I think he's struggling with whether he wants to drop the Endless one or if he wants to start boosting up the Hangerback Walker.
I think he's decided on the Walker.
Yeah, it looks like.
All right, so it looks like we've got not 1-drop into 2-drop into 3-drop, but a pretty easy 3 into 4 into 5 set of turns. So,
Yeah, and like what I'm interested to see here is if he goes for the turn 4 Gideon, if he's gonna hold up Spell Queller.
yeah, most definitely. I think you have to go for the turn 4 Gideon.
I'm kind of of two minds because on the one hand, it's going to be a lot harder to defend Gideon through removal now that he's attacked with Thalia,
I guess that's a good point. Yeah.
and Thalia would have definitely been his kind of trump card on the defense.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, I don't know that he needs to defend Gideon as much, given that he has a second one in hand.
That's true. He might just emblem right away and then start making night tokens.
Yeah,
Also, notably, if he makes a Knight ally with Gideon, Clayton can't attack to kill it right away. And it looks like he is going for the Gideon. So, like, neither of the creatures on board right now can attack to get rid of Gideon.
so I mean, if he just end steps Fatal Push, pump the Hanger back, that's a dead Gideon, right?
I mean, sure.
And I mean, Loop's got to know he's on Fatal Push too.
Loop does. Yeah, totally. These two are best friends, so they know each other's lists very well.
Yeah, really struggling to hit that colorless mana, which I think is something he's really looking for right now.
Yeah, and what a struggle it is. I mean, he can't run his Edict with Bearer of Silence this turn, and he can't play his Matter Reshaper, so he's stuck just continually pumping into this Hangerback Walker, and that's quite the liability when you're against an opponent who has Reflector Mage in their main board.
Yeah. On the other hand, a 4/4 endless one is nothing to shake a stick at.
So do you think we just block the Reaver Drone here if you're Taylor?
You know, I'm not sure. I think probably I block the hanger back, to be honest. Oh, it looks like he's going to go for the Reaver Drone.
Am I lagging a little bit? Yeah, it looks like I was. So yeah, I agree with this play. The reason that I would block the Reaver Drone is because it actually takes power off the board.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. That is true. Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. Probably looking for the hanger back to get it off the board so it can't grow any bigger is probably the wrong call when you know you have Reflector Mage to hedge against it in the late game.
Yeah, most definitely. So a tapped Endless one coming in for Clayton here. We've definitely got the defenses down a little bit on Clayton's side.
Yeah, and this is definitely going to be either an Avacyn or a Spell Queller, I think. I think the best call right now is just hold up mana, see what he does.
Yep, absolutely.
Probably Avacyn.
So it looks like we're just attacking with Thalia and Gideon. No need to preserve Gideon when you have another one in hand.
Especially when you have the possibility of dropping an Avacyn on him here.
Yeah, right? Just getting him.
Yeah. Yeah. Even though he started slow, like I said, I think C Squared is going to need some hand disruption from the board to really take this matchup. I think it's a fairly tough matchup first game for C Squared.
Yeah, I'm actually really impressed that that Loop was able to get through so much damage already, considering he got a very slow start.
Gideon is a hell of a card.
Gideon's the best planeswalker in the format. I would wager a bet that that's an easy claim to make.
I actually think he's tied, but it's a small argument for sure.
All right, so this is a talk we've been having on stream for a while. What's your what do you think is tied for first with him?
Liliana, the Lost Hope.
That's something that I said is possibly the best planeswalker as well.
And the primary reason for that, I would say, is just that Liliana matches up a lot better into Control, which I think is kind of where you want to be beating right now. I don't think Gideon matches up as well into Vraska's Contempt.
Yeah, Vraska's Contempt really warped the metagame. Like, it changed a lot, and I would say arguably for the better.
I would agree with that. That said, looks like he's going for the swing. I think he knows there's an Avacyn here, and he's looking to fish it out.
And, well... Because, yeah, he can edict something.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's going to look to drop the Seagate Wreckage, I think. After Avacyn comes down, he's going to look for the Edict. Which I don't know if that benefits him as much as we'd like.
So it looks like we're having some UI issues, so I'm going to have both players refresh the tab after this match, or after this game. And just to remind you, this is a best of 5. I don't know if you recall, but...
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we'll be going into our second pre-board game after this one.
Oh, yep, that's correct. That's game, yeah. So Thalia would actually bring the land in tapped, which means he can't edict.
Oh, yeah, he can't edict yet.
Yeah.
That's fair. All right, cool.
Yeah. So sideboarding, what's your strategy going forward into this as C Squared?
So I think that, I mean, we're not sideboarding yet, but I think I probably go for Duresses because they can hit Smuggler's Copters, and that can be pretty important. What about you?
See, I think I'm going for Duress in order to hit Gideon and to hit Rebuke.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot
Yeah, I don't think the Smuggler Copter mirror is gonna be the make or break for this. All right, so it looks like we have hands.
And Loop's hand looks a lot better this time around. So
yeah, both hands look keepable. There we go. Yeah, it looks like they're both keeping.
For sure. So Taylor can go turn 1, Thraben Inspector, turn 2, leave up Metallic Rebuke, turn 3, either play Thalia or leave up
Or
Spell
hold up
Queller.
the Queller, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a really clean line for sure.
Yeah, most definitely.
What are we expecting out of? Are we expecting the Copter, or are we expecting him to bring down the Hangerback Walker to start juicing it up?
I think he plays Copter for sure.
Yeah, looks like you're right.
Yeah, if you can get your Copter in early, it's just so much value throughout the game.
Absolutely, absolutely. Especially when you know you're facing down Armages.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a solid point. Copter's a really, really good card into ground creatures. And a really good card when a lot of your opponent's removal is creature-based. And without collected company backup. Sorry, had to fight with my dog for a second there. Alright, so that's going to get rebuked. And we get it tapped Runes of Oran-Reef. You still with me, Matt?
Yeah, yeah. Looks like he's going to swing. Now, are we expecting Thalia or Spell Queller?
That's a really good question.
I'd like to see Thalia.
Yeah, so Thalia would prevent any crewing of the Copter for a turn.
Yeah. Yeah, and it also just gets him a nice quick clock on the board. And Spell Queller is going to be kind of like the backup. Yeah, looks like he's going for the Thalia. Now wait, next turn he can hold up the Queller and keep that tempo on his side.
Yep, most definitely. And that's absolutely the game plan for a tempo deck, is to just maintain board advantage always and keep your opponent from winning.
The one thing I really like about C-Squared's deck is that he can get so much value out of his land base that most decks just can't manage to squeeze out of that slot because they're too busy fixing.
Sorry, run that one by me again.
So most decks with their land base, they're very busy, fixing their colors.
Yeah.
One thing I really like about C-Squared's list is that he's able to fit a lot of utility out of those slots. So you see cards like Field of Ruin, Runes of Oran-Reef, If Near Deadlands. I think one I'd like to see that I don't think he did run was the Graveyard Hate Desert.
Oh, yeah, Scavenger Grounds.
Yeah, Scavenger Grounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really well positioned in the meta, especially if you're running a lot of deserts like If Near Deadlands.
Ooh, so Runes of Oran-Reef coming in clutch here, putting an extra counter on that Hangerback Walker. And it looks like we got a Smuggler's Copter off the top for Loop. Does that change things for you and your plan to hold up Queller?
It personally wouldn't change things for me. Let's see what Loop does. That's 2 of Thalia doing work.
Right? Every game he's had Thalia.
Yeah, so Loop now has to be thinking to himself. He really wants to get the Bearer of Silence out, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he's got to be thinking that... C-Squared wants to get the Bearer of Silence out. But he's got to be thinking that Loop has a Spell Queller at this point.
Oh, yeah. Beyond a shadow of a doubt. Also, something to note is that he can't get beats in right now. It's just like...
Sorry, what's happening here?
I'm not sure.
Oh, sorry, it is a Bearer of Silence.
He untapped
bugged out here by the
prematurely.
looks of it.
Yeah. So Clayton untapped prematurely.
Oh, okay, I understand.
Yeah,
Turn
the second time in the match.
He does go for the Copter.
Yeah.
A more aggressive play, for sure.
I like this play because it gives him more to do with his mana. It's like far more mana efficient. So, because now he can crack a clue and bluff Metallic Rebuke while he's doing that. So
that's true. Yeah. This is going to be a rough board state here for C-Squared. How do you come back from this as Mono Black Eldrazi?
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have any board wipes in main, so having all of this evasive like attacks, sorry, all of this evasive power just to work with is really something um for
You
Luke.
really have. I guess a double Bearer of Silence would do the trick, right? Because he's going to take him right off the board here.
Yeah.
So if next turn he can sneak through the second Bearer of Silence, that would be big. I would say pretty unlikely though, given the spell queller we know is in Loop's hand.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, so he just drew an Avacyn off the top. That is a pretty serious threat. And then he's got all of these lands that he can just feed to his Smuggler's Copter for board advantage.
Just keeping that clock going.
Yep, most definitely.
Wants to keep the pressure on. Don't give him room to breathe.
Yeah, he's gotta. So, do you agree that Loop's the beatdown in this matchup?
I think Loop wins late too, to be honest, pre-board.
Yeah, I
In
mean,
a pure deck style, like both are very talented players, and we could see some of that in-game decision-making swinging things one way or the other. But I do think Esper Vehicles does have the edge pre-board.
yeah, I agree. It's got a lot more to work with and a lot more ways to interact.
Yeah, the interaction is a big one for sure.
And just turn after turn, Clay is having to play with his creatures coming in tapped. This blind obedience effect just really stealing the game.
I'm really surprised, to be honest, to see C Squared not running main board hand disruption. Like I've played him a few times on this list, seeing collective brutality in the main. That's something I think I would have liked to see here.
Yeah, so it looks like we're gonna see a quelled.
Whoa,
That's an interesting play.
I guess he's looking to
expecting.
flick the Avacyn and wipe the board.
Oh, that's a really good play. Oh goodness.
Really interesting. A little more vulnerable. I'm a little scared on his behalf because it is a little more vulnerable to say a murderous cut. But I guess
there's
Luke
no
knows
mana
that
left
there's only,
over for that.
Well, he's got the. Oh, you're right. Yeah, I thought that was Nifnir Deadlands, but it looks like it's a Ruins of Oran-Reef.
Yeah. So that's ruled out, and because of that, we're definitely going to see a board wipe. And a swing in for possibly 6 next turn? Oh my gosh, that's brutal.
Well, I mean, he's going to have the Hangerback Walker breaking into 3 creatures, so that is going to give him a bit of a buffer against that Archangel Avacyn.
It is, you're right. He's got some blocks. Wow, that was so clever. I didn't even see that line of play.
Yeah, the board wipe is real for sure.
So, with Thalia no longer on the board, I think I would have given up Copter, actually. Because this allows Clayton to have blockers with the combination of Smuggler's Copter and his Thopters. He can actually trade for Avacyn if Loop decides to swing in.
Yeah, I guess he could.
And then he still has more creature backup in his hand, so... And another Thopter left. I don't know. I don't know what I would have done there. That's really intriguing.
On the other hand, do you risk, say, playing Spell Queller into that and then flipping later and having the damage come out with Queller on the board? That seems a little risky anyway.
No, I would have crewed Copter with Thalia and sacked Smuggler's Copter to the Edict. So that... Oh wait, no, because Thalia would have died too. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, that's foolish of me. Yeah, he did the right thing.
He is going to swing here with Avacyn. Let's see if C Squared sees the line to just trade. and whether or not that's worth it to him. No, he's just going to go for the delay game. He's buying himself some time, going to hope to draw into something he needs.
That makes sense. Meanwhile, Loop can just hold up Spell Queller, run out his second Smuggler's Copter, and start generating some more value out of the dead cards in his hand.
Yeah, really going to depend on this next top deck for C squared.
So, if you're C squared, is it Thought-Knot Seer or bust?
I mean, with the held up Spell Queller, that I don't even know that's going to get him out of it. I feel like it's got to be a Murderous Cut.
Well, it's Thought-Knot Seer.
It is Thought-Knot Seer.
So I've been talking lately about how, like, I almost always get my turn 1 Thraben Inspectors, even though I only run 4 of them. And, like, so I've been saying that I am Thraben Inspector's favorite card, right? And I think that Clayton is Thought-Knot Seer's favorite card. Like, whenever I'm like, gosh, he needs a Thought-Knot Seer here, yeah. he pulls one. He just peels it right off the top. It's gorgeous.
So C squared choosing to play it slow here, trying to bait out a reaction, and trade back with the time he knows he has from his Thopters. And maybe digging for an answer to this Avacyn.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, here's a Ghost Fireblade. He's gonna pitch it. And Loop takes 3 because he's definitely ahead. He can afford to take it. This is gonna get quelled.
Yeah, definitely this is the Queller play.
He could also play Matter Reshaper and then Runes of Orin Refit to make it a 4-3. But no, he just runs out his Thought-Knot Seer, and yep, that's going to run straight into a Spell Queller.
Yeah, no surprise plays here.
Definitely not. You know, the Eldrazi might be big fans of the Exile Zone, but there are other tribes that can go there too.
Yeah, and unfortunately for C squared, the Spell Queller is going to be able to crew and really increase his clock. Yeah, looting through land, not the best top decks he's had, but I don't think it matters too much given the board state.
Yeah, swinging him for 9, that's going to be savage.
I think the line here is just to block Avacyn.
And take the 2? Or take the 3, rather?
Yeah. Yeah, because you're going to need to block the Avacyn again next turn.
No doubt.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did.
Whew, man.
Oof. Not a fun game for C squared.
Definitely not.
The top decks are not doing what he wants.
Yeah, definitely not. He can't loot this away with his Smuggler's Copter. I don't know if I'd call that ideal.
I think he has to wait to be on the defense and just force the and just trade away the Copter, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Look for the loot and hope for a miracle at this point.
These 2 pre-board games have just been a testament to how fast Esper Vehicles is.
Yeah, and it's a big part of the reason I'd like to see, again, more main board hand disruption, because I think at their core they're both, disruptive aggro decks. Mm-hmm. And I think without that main board hand disruption, C squared just doesn't have the disrupting power he needs to match Esper Vehicles.
Definitely not. So it looks like we're swinging in with Copter.
Bravery here.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be a second Copter.
Yeah, no surprise, pitch to land.
Yeah, so he can definitely run out his other 2 cards. he can survive for one more turn. And then after that, I think it's over. But he has to play the Smuggler's Copter.
A timely spell or a timely Armage here is gonna really hurt him.
Oh yeah.
Okay, less so. I thought he was gonna keep the Copter in hand actually to possibly loot away later. Looks like he's gonna play it out. I think I would have liked to see the Matter Reshaper stay in hand and have him cast the Copter. In the hopes of looting away something later, because he's going to need the card selection, I think. He's a long way from recovering from this board state, and I don't think Matter Reshaper actually does anything for him here.
So Loop thinning out his deck by shuffling away a Flooded Strand. Or shuffling with a Flooded Strand, rather.
Yet another Copter off the top.
Yeah.
Again, not what you're looking for as Loop, but again, his position is pretty commanding at this point.
Most definitely. He gets another land.
So I think you can't even really trade with the Copter because he has another one on board. No, it looks like he's going to go for it anyway. I guess they both have 2 Copters. They can both go for this play.
Yep, most definitely. So that's one more flyer off the board for C squared.
Yet another Copter coming down. Things looking very grim for C squared.
Oh yeah. He is on the back foot now, for sure.
Yeah. Another card he didn't want to see off the top, for sure.
Well,
as good as Matter Reshaper can be, I think there's nothing to block with it in this scenario, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's looking to loot that away and, again, hopefully find an answer.
He can also start activating Seagate Wreckage if the game goes longer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another Smuggler's Copter, eh?
And that looks like it's going to be game.
Yeah, most definitely. Not the action he needed. He doesn't even have a flying blocker anymore.
Yeah, so that's definitely game. There's no way to block the Savison anymore.
Yep.
On to game 3 and finally sideboard.
Yeah. Ooh-wee. Taylor taking a commanding 2-game lead. That is just impressive.
Yeah, tempo's just too much here. Now, can you imagine that C squared has enough in his board to really turn this around and win 3 games in a row?
It
would have to be a pretty stellar change from what we've seen here of this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, so with what he's got, he can bring in the main board duresses and some collective brutality, or rather, the collective brutalities and the duresses out of the sideboard. But I mean, Loop can bring in counter magic for that. I guess he can't hit the sorceries, so, but he's already got plenty of interaction in his main board. It's gonna be rough, man. All right, we're going into combat.
This has to be a bit of a scary moment for Loop, being at 4 life and seeing all this mana held up. You know, what kind of trick does he actually have here? Yeah, it is in fact just game. I think he was bluffing with the hopes that Loop, seeing his vulnerability, might play a little conservative. But
I mean,
calls
so
that
what?
bluff, closes the game.
What could he do to with one card to bring that back? Like, it's probably Fatal Push, if anything, and then it can't kill Avacyn. So
Yeah, definitely unlikely.
And if he had grasped Avacyn, then the combination of Thopter, or of Smuggler's Copter and Avacyn would have killed him. So,
I mean, he had Murderous Cut, right?
oh, you're
So
right.
if he had Murderous Cut Avacyn, Loops tied up, Loops tapped out, leaving, I believe C Square would have been at 2, and he would have cracked back for the win.
Yeah, he made him have it. He made
And it
him
was actually
have
a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. The tokens from the hanger back really bought him a lot of time to swing in with that copter and just chip away at that life total.
Yeah, it was impressive. It was really just a slugfest, just haymakers every turn from both decks.
It looked to me like both stalled out a little bit, drawing. They just weren't drawing what they were wanting to draw, but.
All right, it looks like Taylor has thought a lot about this match because he has already finished sideboarding 4 cards out and 4 cards in.
I mean, as Taylor, is there a lot to think about for this matchup? When it's so easy post or pre-board,
Yeah.
how much do you really need to bring in here?
Oh, it looks like we've got the sideboard plan from Loop here. I was just about to message him. So he took out his 4 Toolcraft Exemplar, which is interesting, and he brought in 2 additional Fatal Push and 2 Hostage Taker. So it looks like he's going to be looking to trap some Thought-Knot Seers underneath those Hostage Takers.
Yeah, that is interesting. That is a spicy turn.
I know, right? So you can bring in a Hostage Taker, crew Copter with it, attack, and then cast a Thought-Knot Seer next turn.
Yeah, so he's looking to slow down a little bit given the general speed of these games, which I think is right. Despite being a fairly heavy aggro deck, we haven't seen a lot of speed coming out of C Squared yet.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, his deck promises a lot of explosive starts with the Ghostfire Blade equipped to a Reaver Drone, and we just haven't seen that output quite yet. But it looks like we might. So there's a Ghostfire Blade, Murderous Cut, 2 Matter Reshapers, and a Thought-Knot Seer.
It's a really slow start
Yeah.
for C Squared.
We've got a
On the other
Smuggler's
side, we're
Copter
seeing-
from Loop.
Yeah, but also another slow start because he's got nothing to crew it with until, his best case turn 4.
True,
Right.
but he can use it to leave up a Metallic Rebuke on turn 3, so...
Now, I think these are both kind of rough hands to stay with, but I think we're going to see both of them stay just because of, card advantage is a pretty real thing. Never know what you're going to get on them all.
It looks like C Squared brought in 2 Reality Smashers and 2 Murderous Cuts and a Spatial Contortion, and took out his 3 Endless Ones and 2 of his Ghostfire Blades.
Yeah, I really like the bringing in the Reality Smasher here, because a lot of your opponent's removal is firstly not going to hit it, and secondly, it's a scary thing to have to face down. Like none of Loop's creatures really match up well into Reality Smasher.
No, the creature quality is super, super high.
Now
Yeah.
we'll have to see whether it matters. Yeah, okay. So we do get the Maul out of, which is, I gotta say, a fairly painful looking Maul. Hopefully the Scry is going to make that a little better.
And Loop mulls as well into a 1-lander. That is rough.
Two very painful Mauls for sure. Mulling to 5 from Loop.
I guess he's on the draw, so...
I think that is a keep though.
I think it's a keep too. And he does scry to the bottom, so...
So it wasn't the land he was looking for.
I mean, if there's...
And here's the thing, I think in that case, both of them would have been better served just keeping their suboptimal 7 cards.
I agree. Yeah, given these hands, the opening 7 were better. All right, well, here's the second land for Loop, so yeah. Tapped Prairie Stream, and then it looks like he's probably going to play either a Scrap Heap Scrounger or a Copter. Probably a Copter, given the...
Just a brutally slow hand coming out for C Squared. So much land, nothing to do with it. Not going to look good with this turn 3, or hopefully a turn 3 Thali. I guess he doesn't have the land yet. We'll see how that unfolds.
Yeah, right? Like,
Hopefully he top decks it.
or he can loot it out with Smuggler's Copter. So
Being messaged here, and I'm being told C squared has no colorless, but he does have Seagate Wreckage in hand, and has since the beginning of the game.
has
But
no
I'm
colorless.
He does. He has Seagate Wreckage.
He has two colorless sources on the battlefield.
Oh, and he does. Oh, yes, he has Seagate Wreckage in the battlefield and in hand.
Yeah, and his Blighted Fen taps for colorless too. So yeah, he made a fine play there, guys.
In the original 7, he had no colorless.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Failing to find his third mana, or his third mana for the Thalia. Actually discarding the Thalia here.
Yeah. Interesting line of play.
Well, I think it's at this point, if he's going to be behind on mana, Thalia's purpose is generally to set the enemy behind on mana, but it's kind of too late for that.
I agree. Yeah. He's not going to get the time walk that he's looking for. Ooh, probably going to take a Spell Queller with this.
Yeah, that would be my play for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, things actually looking good for C squared despite the slow start.
Yeah, most definitely. He can definitely come back from these slower hands because Thought-Knot Seer is just such a great card.
Yeah, very underplayed in the format in general.
I mean, I would definitely consider it in a metagame full of Siege Rhino. Like, it matches up well against Siege Rhino.
I can't really block Siege Rhino, though. It's... I think Abzan's one of the harder decks for Thought-Knot Seer, and one of the reasons we don't see it more.
Yeah.
Because they do have a lot of removal in that deck. And it's like, what are you going to do with your Thought-Knot? You're going to block Anafenza? You're going to lose your 4-drop for their 3-drop, and you're going to give them a card?
You're going to trade down for Anafenza?
Yeah. Really? C-Square taking the Inspector?
That is surprising. But I guess that stops Loop from playing, theoretically, Inspector and Inspector.
Yeah, so I think the reason here is that he knows he can't cast Spell Queller right now. He knows he doesn't have the third land.
Yeah.
So he's basically saying, I'm going to take your Inspector. That's one less card you're going to be able to dig looking for your land. And by that time, my hand's going to be empty.
Yep. So Loop notably looting and discarding the Spell Queller that C-Squared has seen already. And he can no longer leave up Metallic Rebuke.
Yeah, I think it is a desperation play at this point. He's going to bring out the Copter. All right. Okay, yeah, I guess, because now he's going to be able to swing with 2 Copters next turn. Do even more.
Yeah. I can see it. Although C-Squared's going to be cracking back for a lot this turn with a Ghostfire Blade suited up on his choice of Eldrazi. Wow.
Looking for a Matter Reshaper and a Ghostfire Blade equip at this point, I believe.
That's what I'd be looking at as well. Nope, he's going to Bearer of Silence away the Scrap Heap Scrounger. That's really interesting.
So he's basically saying, I don't want you to be able to dig for 2 lands, or dig 2 cards into your deck next turn, I think, with that play.
Yep, absolutely. Well, we said he needed to win 3, and it looks like he's going to take 1, so...
A surprising start, actually, out of this game, given how slow the hands looked.
Yeah, totally.
The Thought-Knot Seer really upping that clock.
Yeah, it puts a lot of pressure on, and especially on a mold of 5, that's just so punishing. To take a card?
Yeah.
It's rough.
So the lesson we learned here is don't necessarily mull away medium hands.
Yeah, right? It's interesting because Taylor did just the opposite in the pre-board games where he kept some I mean, especially in game one, that was a lukewarm hand at best.
Yeah, I mean the disadvantage of being down a card is very real, and you never know what you're going to get out of Moz either, right? It's not like Modern where you have these sideboard cards that you bring in and you just win the game with them in your hand, right? So you're kind of
Silver
more,
bullets, yeah.
yeah, you're more. What's the word I'm looking for? You really want to kind of dig for those cards if you can.
Yeah.
We don't really see that in Frontiers. The card advantage really matters a lot more. And drawing into a suboptimal 6 is a lot worse than having a suboptimal 7.
So with Affinity being the top dog in Modern right now, have you been enjoying your Stony Silences and Mardu Pyromancer?
I'm not running any, actually. The Mardu... so, for those watching, I've just built Mardu Pyromancer in Modern. And, no, Affinity is a good enough matchup for me that I don't really need the extra help from Stony Silence.
Yeah, because you got blockers for days.
Blockers for days, all kinds of removal. They're going to run out of steam before I run out of steam, so it's not too bad a matchup.
Cool.
The matchups that are going to be rough for me are Tron.
Yeah. Yeah,
Tron,
I can
big
see that
mana,
for sure.
Cut. A little bit control, but it's not quite as bad as Tron.
Yeah, pray that they don't hit their scape shift in Valakut decks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thought sees away that first scape shift and see how it goes. All right, I'm gonna go get a refill on my tea. I'll be right back, viewers.
Oh, sorry, just a sec here, guys. Hands coming out here from both players. Looking like a much quicker start from C Squared, a little land heavy, but I think he can do with that. A slightly slow hand from Loop, but I think the Scrap Heap Scrounger is going to offset that enough. All right, no turn one play for either player.
All right, well, I'm back, and it looks like we're onto the game already, huh?
Yeah.
And
Decent
both players
hands from
kept
both
7.
players. Yeah, nothing amazing coming out of their hands, but definitely keepable.
It looks like both of them opted for a 2-drop that... Oh, well, Hangerback Walker can block, I guess. I thought we might see a Bearer of Silence, but Hangerback Walker makes a lot more sense.
Loophole getting the early clock going a little faster than his opponent here.
Yeah, most definitely. So right now he can play his second Scrap Heap Scrounger and leave up Fatal Push, which is really solid.
Yeah, 2 Scrap Heap Scroungers is a hell of a clock and really hard to keep off the board, unfortunately.
Yeah, most definitely. Because they're a recursive threat, and as long as Loop has... And with Smuggler's Copter, that's just is something worth noting, that Loop can just be binning a creature to feed to a Scrap Heap Scrounger at any point.
And push coming out to stop the uptick of that first Hangerback Walker. Sorry.
The second Hangerback Walker, the summoning sick one.
Yeah, you're right.
I think the players are questioning that as well, but it looks like there's been some clarity. Ooh-wee.
Yeah, it's not the play I would have expected, but
Yeah, so I think this. Oh, we see a
Oh,
hostage taker come out. Does it just kill the
gotcha.
token?
Like the hostage taker probably just kills the other hangerback walker actually. So yeah, that's right. That's I don't know how I missed the hostage taker. The great thing about that is that hangerback walker, even if he kills it, hangerback walker comes in and just dies immediately.
Yep, absolutely. There's no way for him to pay the X cost on it, so it's just gonna stay off the battlefield for the rest of the game.
Yeah, so just a brain fart by me not seeing that line makes a lot of sense. And now things are looking really bad for C squared.
He's
It's
got
going to be
one blocker.
yeah, and just he's going to have a really hard time coming back from this kind of board. I think doesn't have the tools to deal with this many creatures this early.
So do you think that the hangerback walkers are the reason why Taylor brought in the hostage takers?
It's probably a strong bet. Seems like a really solid just 2 for 1
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
with the extra utility of maybe late game you get to steal a thought knot, which is backbreaking.
All right. So we might see a Thought Seer off the top here. It's not.
Reality Smasher, which not the greatest when you're losing the race this hard, unfortunately.
Agreed. He might just have to leave it up to block.
Well, Bearer of Silence going to come down and even up the board state a little bit. Just nice to have some extra blockers. Give him the time he needs to get to that Thought Knot, or the Reality Smasher.
Notably, Bearer of Silence cannot block, Matt.
Oh, shoot, you're right.
So he's got still one blocker to keep the pressure off.
Certainly better than the 3 creatures he was facing down before.
Oh, no doubt.
2-turn clock instead of, or yeah, that's right, 3-turn clock instead of a 2-turn clock, assuming he doesn't want to block with the Thopter.
I mean, I would probably block a Scrap Heap Scrounger with a Thopter, but it looks like it looks like the flying threat is too much to pass up.
I think what he wants to do next turn is drop that second Bearer of Silence and Murderous Cut his opponent off the board.
Could be. Even things up. Oh, so Loop deciding to cast a Hangerback Walker on 1. And then he can put up a Copter as well? Oh, that's so efficient.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a hell of a play right there.
Man, what a tech, this hostage taker coming in from the sideboard. It's like it was perfectly engineered for this situation.
And he makes now the line of Bearer of Silence into that a lot weak.
Most definitely. I think you have to leave the Murderous Cut up for the Smuggler's Copter. And then you're looking at a possible blowout with Avacyn, which Loop could very well be on by next turn. So I think he has to play a blocker.
I'm trying to think how you get out of this situation and just seeing what's in his hand. Looking grim. Looking real grim.
Yeah, it looks like we might already have a season 3 champion here.
Decisions. C-Squared taking his time, really weighing his options.
Something to note is that if he plays Bearer of Silence, he doesn't have enough cards to delve away from Murderous Cut.
Very true.
So I think it has to be the Smasher. And he can't attack with it.
Looks like we're considering a scoop here.
Some posturing going on between our participants here and our friend Matt McTavish in the peanut gallery.
Yeah, hostage taker coming up huge here for Loop.
Oh yeah, making quite the splash. Is this his debut on stream? It might be.
I haven't seen it in Frontier yet. That's for sure. I think it seems a little niche in Frontier, but it definitely showed here that it has legs, and it can work in the right situation for sure.
Yeah, most definitely. We should have talked about it in this situation on the podcast. I can't believe we didn't see it like this.
Well, I don't think we see a lot of hangerback walkers in general.
We don't.
And I think versus a lot of decks, I see hostage takers being a little too slow.
Mm-hmm.
Because like if you're against the same, Mardu vehicles, it looks like the Reality Smasher coming down,
and he does just leave it up to block. Yeah,
hoping to buy enough time and to stall out. Although I don't think it matters here, right? Because so it looks like he can live
one more turn at least.
Yeah, just barely.
But a land is definitely going to seal things up, because now we can just have an Avacyn blowout and create some trades that are very unfavorable.
Yeah, the land was exactly what Loop was looking for here.
No doubt. Yeah, I think he just swings in with everything and then drops Avacyn.
And the counterplay to that might again be this Bearer of Silence into Murderous Cut. So he'd flip the Avacyn and then kill the Avacyn. And hopefully that Loop doesn't have another creature in hand to crew the Copter on the next turn. Unfortunately, as we can see, you can have the Spell Queller coming down for the final points with the swing.
Yep. So Luke playing conservatively here, just clearing out the flying blocker while he can.
Oh, and it looks like he's not even going to give him the opportunity to use that Bearer of Silence to flip the Avacyn. So just playing it slow, going for the safe win.
Mm-hmm. Which is a foil to his previous line of being very, very aggressive and trying to race his opponent.
Oh, and it actually looks... Sorry, I thought there was an attack there, but it looks like Loop opting to hold his creatures back.
No, he did attack, and then there was a block with a Thopter. So, yeah.
Oh, sorry, he just swung with Smuggler's Copter. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he swung with Smuggler's Copter, crewed by Hostage Taker, and that got blocked by a Thopter. Yeah. Alright, Bearer of Silence gonna get into the red zone. Because it can't block, so it might as well, right?
The beginning of the comeback.
Right on line.
And he can't even drop the Bearer of Silence, actually, because if he does, Loop's just going to pump the Hangerback, sack the Hangerback, and he's just going to have more power that can swing into him and flying, you know?
What's the Ravnica mechanic where it was active if a player took damage this turn?
I can't recall.
Because that's online right now, too. Bloodthirst. Bloodthirst is online. Man, he is just playing so conservatively right now. He really wants to get all the value he can out of this Avacyn.
Absolutely. And he doesn't need to put anything on the board is the thing. He's going to slowly chip him down. There's no real reason for him to... I guess he can just swing with everything now. And unless C-Squared has something up his sleeve, that's going to be it.
So Crewcopter here.
But again, looks like he's just going for the conservative. Oh, no, he's going to swing with everything. Wait a sec. Some indecision happening here.
Okay.
Contemplating...
Well, looks like we're just gonna cut the indecision here and cut right, with the murder as well. Murder is cut on the hostage taker.
So it looks like Avacyn came down here. I didn't quite see exactly when. I think in response to the murderous cut, and we just skipped the tapping of the mana.
Correct. Yeah, he's just showing Avacyn to show that he's got the win.
Yeah. All right. Looks like that's game. So we have our... Is it Season 3 are we on? Yeah, it's Season 3, right?
This has been our Season 3 finals, and
yeah,
Taylor Holbrook takes it 3-1. Yeah. Yeah, so
big
congratulations.
To Luke Holbrook.
Yeah, I'm really proud of him.
Yeah. So it looks like I would say a very rough matchup for Mono Black Eldrazi.
Yeah, no doubt. A lot of flying creatures. So if there's anything that it struggles against, it's air power.
Yeah, just a lot of tempo plays to keep your big beaters out of the game. And I think with an aggressive deck like this, it's really hard for the game to go long enough for you to really get that extra value out of your lands, which I think is kind of the cornerstone that makes this deck tick at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, cool. All right. Well, thanks for watching our stream, everyone. Be sure to click on that subscribe button down below and follow us on YouTube as well. We are Magic: The Final Frontier on YouTube. You can also follow us on Twitter at MTG Frontier. Thanks for watching. I've been Kevin Hanlon.
And I've been Matt Murday. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.